Blue Care Network. State Senator Wayne Schmidt, the Republican from Traverse City, is with us right across the table in our studio. Well, thank you for being here across from your office.
It's always great to be with you, Michael Patrick.
Did I hear some noise about, because, there's a lot of noise in the neighborhood around here, downtown Lansing, about moving the Senate offices, and some people think it's a waste of money, or what's that all about?
That's still the discussion of whether or not we stay in the Farnham building, move over to the Capitol View building, the options. I'm not involved in those discussions.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that was determined last session by the Senate. And so myself, I'm just getting acclimated being a freshman. I do know that the Farnham building is a little dated. There are security issues, things like that. But I'm not the one that makes the final decision on that in terms of whether or not we're going to officially move.
Speaking of decisions, let's just refresh. You're voting yes or no next Tuesday on Proposal 1?
Voting yes.
You're voting yes?
Yes.
Okay. If Rick Snyder were in the Republican primary and were today, would he get your vote?
Sure. I would. To have a president from Michigan, a second president, you bet.
Todd Corser was with us earlier, the state rep, and he said he would not vote for Snyder.
Does that surprise you?
Not really. No.
Well, I mean, but for me, I've enjoyed working with the governor. I think he could do a good job, and it would be beneficial to Michigan to have the next president be from Michigan.
Are you gearing now? You're getting closer toward your first bills as a state senator, and if so, what are they?
I have a couple of bills up this week on the Senate floor. Very excited. The first one is one that many people have been working on for quite some time, and I was very fortunate to be able to get things to come together for me. Survivor benefits for public safety officials. It has bipartisan support. It really doesn't cost much at all. We calculate maybe $50,000 this year. But what it really offers, and I think this is important, peace of mind to those public safety officers, whether they're policemen or police officers, sheriff's deputies, fire rescue, firefighters, whether they're volunteer or paid, career paid. If they were to die in the line of duty, that their families, their spouses would receive health care, that it would continue. And that was something that we've worked on last session and now this session, and very honored to have the support of my colleagues on this bill. And I think that this is something very few, you would think that it'd be offered, very few, and I think I can count on my left hand how many communities actually offer that benefit. But it's something that we can do on a state level, have very good cost efficiencies on it, but offer, I think, a benefit that would be very, very important at that critical juncture when, a family loses their mom or dad. I can't think of a better way to honor and say thank you for the ultimate sacrifice for our public safety officials.
So they would get, for the rest of their lives, they would have health coverage?
Well, it would cover, we go in accordance with federal law for kids. It'd go up to age 26.
Oh, see?
And then for those spouses, if they already had coverage and they would continue it, or if they got remarried and they had coverage, and then at that time it would change. But in the meantime, and I've been through a similar circumstance, most of the time, the insurance just stops. If whichever spouse has the insurance and they were to pass away, it's gone. And we take care of that. And so I was very thankful to the leadership. And as I said, this is a bipartisan effort. So very excited about that. The other bill is catering, a little bit of cleanup language, something very important, near and dear to Mackinac Island's heart. And actually, it's good for the entire state, making sure that when they do an open bar or cater a bar by the hour, that it's in accordance with state law. Just a little cleanup language, but one as we enter into the busy season, very important.
So when you have a little something on the deck, at the Pink Pony or whatever out back there, and you have a little mixer like they do, what would they have to do to be in accordance?
Well, just to make sure that if you do a bar by the hour, that cleanup language really, it technically wasn't in there. And it's a pretty standard practice, but we want to make sure that everything's in accordance with the law, and that Liquor Control Commission is happy, law enforcement is happy, and of course, the hospitality industry is happy.
So what would be an example of not being in accordance with the law?
Kind of what they're doing right now.
Really?
So they're advertising. So it's as I said, it's not a huge deal. The practice is a very common one.
You said advertising?
Yes, advertising it.
We say, like, we're going to have a cash bar on the deck at Mary's Bistro or whatever.
That's fine. A hosted bar, advertising it as a package price wouldn't be. Now, this, by the way, this is only for private parties, closed receptions.
Like a New Year's Eve party or something like that.
Correct. This isn't just so a bar can open up and say, drinks by the hour. This is for private receptions.
I gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, so even if we had one here, for instance, and we said, hey, if you
Right.
pay us $100, we'll have party favors and whatever, and
I think
do
you
that.
might need a liquor license, but,
I see.
we can work with you on that, Michael Patrick.
Oh, man, hopefully cooler heads will prevail. Thank you very much for being with us here.
Thank you.
State Senator Wayne Schmidt with M.